Parameter name inlay hints for JavaScript and TypeScript add parameter names to any function calls in your code base. This can help you understand what the code is doing at a glance and also help you catch some simple programming mistakes. Now, they're off by default, but here I've enabled them so we can take a look at parameter hints in action. So if we look up here at the call to create scanner, for instance, you can see that there's this text here, which is ignore trivia. Now that is a parameter name inlay hint, and it's not actually part of the file. So if we were to look at the file on disk, this text would not be saved into it. It is text that vscode is inserting to help us understand what the parameter here, which is false in this case, is representing. So that is the name of the parameter for create scanner here. We can confirm that by hovering over the create scanner function here and seeing that, yes, that is the second argument. So now we can kind of understand what false is representing. Without these parameter name inlay hints, we'd have to go and inspect that function to really understand what false is actually supposed to mean. They can also help you catch some simple programming mistakes. So if we look at visit function here, for example, it'd be quite easy to accidentally mix up the offset and the length here because they're both just numbers. But with the parameter name inlay hints, we can go and confirm that we're passing in the right arguments. Now again, parameter name inlay hints are disabled by default, but they're quite easy to turn on. So I'm going to open up my settings here with Control comma or Command comma on Mac. I'm going to search for parameter name. I'm going to go to the TypeScript setting here, but there's a separate setting for JavaScript. So I want TypeScript inlay hints parameter names enabled. And I've currently turned them on for all values, but we can actually go and dial things down so that they will only show up for literals. So if I go and I set this to literals instead, now the parameter name inlay hints are only going to be shown for literal type arguments. So true, false, numbers, strings, those type of things. And they're not going to be shown for things like create function where we're passing in an expression here. So you might find that that is, it's going to dial things back a little bit, but it's definitely a lot less intrusive. I'm actually going to go back to my settings here and turn this back to all, so we have all of the parameter hints showing up instead. And now if we go back to the file, you can see that we have them in pretty much every expression. They're not showing up in this specific case because the argument that we're passing in exactly matches the parameter name, so it's not really going to be helpful. And we can confirm that again by hovering over create scanner and seeing that the parameter name is text and the argument we're passing in is also called text. I find that these parameter name inlay hints can really help me understand what my code is doing. Try experimenting with the settings to find the right balance between something that's informative and also not getting in the way too much.